Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Royals baseball today from Kauffman Stadium, and welcome back indeed. And the first of 81 here begins today against the Minnesota Twins.
Matt Wallner will be first up against Bubic.
Wallner with a blast, high and deep to right field. Back it goes and gone. 1-0 Twins here in the second.
Kyle hitting in the 9th spot. He's 2 for 7 so far this year.
How about pull it to right field? Into the wind and sailing and soaring out of here.
Collins is batting right-handed for the first time today.
Isaac Collins hits it high in the air. Into the left field corner, and his first hit as a Royal is a home run. Rounded out to India. And Schreiber gets the job done. And the Royals win their first game at home in 2026.
Matt Wallner grounds out to Royals second baseman Jonathan India to end the game, and the Royals begin their home schedule with a victory.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Sports Day. My name is Brant Daughtry. I'm the host of this program. Landon Winkler is in the corner running the video feed and the cameras. You're probably seeing the camera move around right now, trying to look at me a little bit better. That's because Landon's making it do that. Landon is doing his best to make this show presentable, even though I'm not making it easy on him. Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College, offering exceptional and affordable learning opportunities supporting student, community, and employee needs. We come to you, as we do every single day, with the sounds of the past 24 hours to kick off the show. And the biggest event last night here in the state of Kansas that people want to talk about, I'm sure, the Kansas City Royals against the Minnesota Twins. The Royals win it 3-1. Both runs coming as results of home runs. Isaac Collins and Kyle Isbell at the bottom of the lineup, these two, and they both get home runs, one to right field, one to left field. How about those new fences, huh? How about the new dimensions of Kauffman Stadium coming into play there? How about a great outing today for that night for Chris Bubic. 6 innings, 1 run, gave up just 2 hits, walked 3, struck out 4. 6 complete innings, 1 run from your starter. You'll win a lot of games if you can do that. I think that this Royals team, and they're 4 games in, right? They're off today, but being 4 games in, I'm very impressed with the pitching. I'm very impressed with the defense of them. That's kind of been the Royals' identity, right? Is pitching and defense and speed on the base paths, things like that. Playing small ball in a lot of ways, small ball and defense. And I really do think that this obviously all 3 runs coming from homers is a little bit different, but I do think that this is a team that has a lot of upside. If they can stay healthy, I really like this rotation. I think Michael Wacha's great. I think Cole Reagans, when he's on, he's really on. I think Chris Bubic, who made an all-star game last year, was fantastic. And obviously he got up to a really good start here. It threw 75 pitches through 6 innings. If it's game 80 instead of game 4, and he's got a couple of starts under his belt, I think that they let him go back out there for the 7th and probably let him do that. But just shutting him down after 75, hard to have a problem with that as far as what all the Royals are trying to do long term this year. And yeah, I think this is a playoff team. And I said that going into the season. So far, they have kind of lived up to my expectation of, yeah, I think this team's going to be pretty good. So I think that I think the Royals are in good shape. They've obviously got to stay healthy. They've got to keep playing well. I think a little bit more of the lineup has to step up. I mean, just looking through it, Bobby Witt Jr. didn't have a hit yesterday. Vinny Pasquantino didn't have a hit, even though he did walk twice. Salvador Perez went 1 of 4. Carter Jensen was 0 of 3. Lane Thomas 0 of 1. There are a couple of offers in this that I think that the Royals are going to need to get over. But of course, it's baseball. You're going to have offers. You're going to have days where not everybody's totally on, and in those days where you can find a way to win, even though that you're not hanging 10 runs in a game. This is a really impressive win, I think, for the Kansas City Royals, and I think that they're going on pace to have a pretty good season. At least that's my thoughts on them. And obviously the caveat of everybody's got to stay healthy. Not everybody. I mean, you're going to have injuries, but health is going to be a big story for this team, just like it was last year. And if they can stay healthy, relatively speaking, I think they'll be okay. Sports Day is brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Also by Sutherland's, helping you build it better since 1917. From quality lumber, plywood, and OSB to cabinets, plumbing, hardware, and power tools, they have everything you need to get the job done. Visit Sutherland's on 10th Street. Lastly, in part by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Community College athletics programs the very best in the country. Fun show for you today. Jason Duvall, the new head coach of Larned football. He will join us after the first break. Coach Duvall is taking up this opportunity, and I know a lot of Great Bend folks are excited for Larned. They think it's a great hire. I know a lot of Larned folks are very excited about it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Coach Jason Duvall does with the Larned Indians. We'll welcome him on. We'll get his thoughts on this job and the type of program that he is now in charge of. After that, we'll talk to Michael Stedinger, head coach of Great Bend Baseball. Big game for them tonight. They're welcoming in the Hayes High Indians in a rivalry matchup, so that should be a ton of fun. We're rooting for Great Bend around here. But first up on the program, Jason Duvall, head coach of Larned football, joining us after this first break. You're listening to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Hey Cougar fans, this is Brant Daughtry, voice of the Barton Cougars. Cheering from the stands is great, but you can give our athletes a true competitive advantage by joining the Cougar Booster Club. Boosters provide the best equipment and facility upgrades, helping Barton athletes succeed at the regional and national level. Whether you're a business or an individual, your support matters. Call 620-792-9377 and become a Cougar Booster today. Go Cougars!
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys make it happen.
Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville.
The Eagle Media Spring Online Auction, presented by Stone Sand Company and by Stone Waste Management, returns. Receive amazing discounts on products and services from local businesses. Online bidding begins Wednesday, April 15th at 8 a.m. and ends Thursday, April 16th at noon. Register now at GreatBendPost.com. Then listen live during the on-air showcase, Wednesday, April 15th from 9 until 3 on 100.7 Eagle Country and 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Get active with Rec Sports. Youth and adult baseball and softball leagues are now forming. Don't miss out on the summer baseball and softball leagues for all ages and abilities. Sign up today. Online registration is available at greatbendrec.com. Deadline April 12th.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the Rec.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry here with you, joined now by Jason Duvall, newly named head coach of Larned High School football. Coach, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having me, Brent. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Coach, let's talk about it. For those who don't know, walk us through your coaching history and how you ended up in Central Kansas.
Well, I've coached for about 31 years now. Started out down in Texas, obviously, and kind of worked my way from the middle school levels up to the high school, and then down in that area, I coached against Coach Black, Bo Black, and then job came open with them, and him and his dad across town from where I was. I jumped on with them, and about 2 years later, Bo had some family back here with his wife in the area, and he applied for that Great Bend job and asked if I'd be interested to go with him. So I said, sure, why not? So we came up and spent some really good years here in Great Bend, and then I went ahead and went back down south for a couple years, and then came back and still had a bunch of family here myself, of course. And then that's when I was dating my wife, current wife, and got on Ellenwood with her, and just kind of got back into it.
Kind of carried it over, and
Yeah.
so you played at Texas Tech, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. All right, you, offensive line, right?
Yes.
Did I read that right?
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. So you're are you an offensive guy, defensive guy? What's your specialty? Coaches have specialties, and even head coaches that like to oversee everything, they still have where they come from.
Yes, I have to fully go with offensive guy, so I'm pretty knowledgeable there. I mean, I can work defenses, but my interest is fully on offense. So.
Fair enough. All right. So talk us through what kind of style you want to take to Larned. What is your plan when you look at the Larned program? You're 5 years down the road now. What do you want to see Larned be?
Well, I'd like to see us be very competitive in our league, have that opportunity to win that league, be successful, obviously build great character in our kids. We're going to come in and obviously expect them to work hard, do the little things right. We're going to come in with a spread offense. That's where I'm at. We'll run a lot of RPOs, things like that. We'll still run out of a little bit of tight end sets. I feel like if we have a pretty good fullback and a pretty good tight end, we can still get into that I formation and stuff. But with some of the skill kids that we probably have, we're going to spread it out and throw those short passes. And we're not going to try and go deep all the time. But 5-yard pass is good as a 5-yard run. So
absolutely, efficiency.
Yes.
When you're running that RPO style offense, that's the thing that I find guys come back to the most. Is like you said, if 5 yards is great. However, you can get 5 yards if it's 1st and 10. 5 yards is a win, and to kind of get kids to buy into that, it takes, I think, a quarterback that can make very quick decisions. And we're just talking ball now, and I can talk football all day, but the quarterback play going to be very important there.
Very, very important. We're going to have a young man that can throw those short, quick passes, read pre-snap reads. We'll have a lot of that. He'll kind of know where to go with the ball pre-snap with what's happening on defense. So, just a kid who can sling it around a little bit. Again, not deep, but good, sharp passes.
Awesome. And I feel like, you're a former offensive lineman, and that Larned has struggled with line play on both sides of the ball over the last couple of years. And I feel like the quick game that you're talking about alleviates some of that pressure on them, and also with RPOs, the offensive line is just a run play to them. And so it kind of takes some of the when you're not having to think as much, it allows you to play a whole lot faster. And if offensive linemen have to think, it's the most cerebral position on the field other than quarterback. And the fact that you're able to take some of that weight off those guys' shoulders, I think goes a long way in helping them play better.
Yes, definitely. That is the number one thing with that offensive line, is to cut down that thinking process. A lot of the things that we do are already schemed, so it doesn't matter. You can close your eyes and put whatever front in front of us, and they'll be able to do the same thing. So that's what I like about the schemes against some defenses. But just cutting down, and technique will get us there. That's the big thing with offensive linemen, just basic steps and things like that, and how to get there quicker and how to get there, understanding where you're going.
Larned is a program that has struggled over the last decade plus, a couple of winning seasons, but for the most part, the results haven't been there. What is the roadmap from going from where Larned was at the end of last year to, like you said, in 4 or 5 years down the road competing for the league?
Well, I would like for other teams to understand that when Larned comes to play, they're going to have to play hard themselves. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and it's not going to be that what maybe some teams think is a pushover game. So we're going to instill that into our young men, that every game you have to go into battle. You may be not on the right side starting out, but if you let a team know as you step onto the field, or they watch film from the week before, and that coach has to tell the team, hey, these guys are coming in to play, that's what we want. That's kind of the reputation we'd like to get. And so it's going to be built into our kids, and hopefully this class that I have coming in to get with now, that senior class, we can, pass that down to these younger grades and have them understand as they continue to come up that those are our expectations.
How much have you interacted with the team so far? How much have you been getting to know these guys? Obviously, practice has not started up yet, but still, I'm assuming getting in the weight room with these guys, maybe some film, breaking down some walkthroughs, things like that.
I have watched some film on them last year. As far as when I did the interview, they had, which I thought was pretty neat. They had a panel of about 5 or 6 players that sat down and had an open session with me and asked questions about, as part of the interview, which I thought was really neat. I'd never had that before. So I met a couple of the kids. I've been talking with the athletic director, Mr. Dieterding, about trying to get over there here pretty soon to meet with the kids, probably happen in the next week or so, and kind of give them a rundown. Of course, introduce myself, introduce kind of how things are going to go this summer, and get with the other coaches. Actually have a coaches meeting and talk to them tomorrow. So just getting them ready, prepared with what's going to come.
What was the process like of going from where you are now with GBHS to taking the Larned job? I mean, when the job came open, was it something that was immediately appealing to you?
It's funny because the position I'm in now, I have a little bit of opportunity to interact with kids. Being on that kind of administrative side, you lose that contact with some kids sometimes, but I still have the opportunity to go see them compete and play. And over the last couple of years, it's been really hard to, I feel like I can still go back and offer. I love what I do now. It is great, people I work with. But I just felt like, I want to go back and I feel like I can and help kids a little bit more in the athletic part of it. So we were just kind of sitting around at dinner one time sometimes with some of my other family members and just talking about would be nice to get back in. And I don't know, a week or two later, my son-in-law, Jordan Harrison, calls me and says, "Hey, that Larned football job's open." And so I kind of looked into it, kind of started looking around, and then kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. And then, I thought, hey, let's look into that. So I was really intrigued. I looked into it, did some research on them and things like that, talked to my wife, and she was like, go for it. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and apply. So
there's something for the itch to get back into coaching that like every coach that has left coaching, and I say that my father was a longtime high school football coach, and even to the day he retired, he never considered getting back into it, but he still talks about the itch to get back in. Yes. And the fact that you're getting to scratch that itch right now, it has to feel very satisfying that you're getting this opportunity.
It is. It's very satisfying. You say the word itch, and that's the word that I used actually when I sent out a letter to all our coaches at the middle school here in Great Bend, letting them know I actually said I have the itch to get back into coaching, and this is an opportunity for me. So yeah, it was a nice blessing on the table. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to get back into it and start working and doing those long hours again.
Do you have a staff lined up? Do you have names that you're considering? Anybody hired yet?
I'm meeting with the current staff tomorrow. I'm going to kind of give them my expectations of what I have, and then what I'll probably do is meet with them individually to find out where they're at and things like that, and see what we want to do from there.
All right, you're an offensive guy. The pattern with offensive guys is this is not 100%. I'm not saying I expect this of you, that anybody should, but my experience with offensive head coaches is they handle the offense, and the defensive coordinator is said, hey, if you need anything, let me know. And that's kind of the system that offensive guys tend to run with. When you look at the position of defensive coordinator, defensive play caller, what are you kind of looking for schematically? What are you looking for from just a personality standpoint?
When you look at the defensive guys, obviously each of them have their own philosophies and things like that when they come in, kind of like an offensive guy. But you're exactly right. I'm going to do the offense, and I want to find a defensive guy who I'm going to say, let me know what you're doing. How can I help you? I will sit in on the meetings. But I want that individual to, present what they're going to do. And, as long as our kids are playing hard and getting after it, I think whatever we run will be sufficient. And get those secondary coaches in there and do that and get those kids moving and understanding. Again, it comes back to technique. I'm going to try to have kids that can run. That's the big thing about defense, in my opinion. Sometimes you don't have to be overly big, but we need 11 guys out there that are going to fly to the football. And so that's kind of what we'll look for and talk to defensive coordinators about.
We make the pitch to a kid who's at Larned High School and is considered playing football, but kind of looks at the past couple of records and goes, I don't know if I want to spend time doing that. The regime change coming in, kind of a new direction for the program. Make the pitch to that kid to come out and just play Larned football.
Well, I believe everyone who even has an itch to want to play should come out and give that new coach an opportunity. I think they should give myself an opportunity to come out, see what it's all about, come to the summer workouts, see where I'm at, see how I push our kids, see what I expect of our kids and of our coaches. And then that way they can make that educated, understanding decision on what they want to do. But I feel like give it a chance, because you have someone new coming in who's not the same as in the past. I don't know anything about the past or some of the coaches in the past, but I know what I'm bringing to the table. So give me an opportunity to present that to you and be a part of our program.
Outstanding. Coach, thank you so much for the time today.
I really appreciate it and look forward to all the great things that are going to happen over in Larned.
Absolutely. That is the newly named Larned head football coach, Jason Duvall, joining us here on Sports Day.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor. And don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
The Eagle Media Spring Online Auction, presented by Stone Sand Company and by Stone Waste Management, returns. Receive amazing discounts on products and services from local businesses. Online bidding begins Wednesday, April 15th at 8 a.m. and ends Thursday, April 16th at noon. Register now at GreatBendPost.com. Then listen live during the on-air showcase, Wednesday, April 15th from 9 until 3 on 100.7 Eagle Country and 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM.
Barton Community College, in partnership with Golden Key Group, proudly offers the nation's first associate degree in federal human resources. This online program prepares anyone for remote federal HR careers across the government. Service members and military spouses can use My CAA or GI Bill benefits to take the next step toward a flexible, rewarding career from wherever you are. Learn more at federalhr.bartonccc.edu.
C&E Doors, this is Cindy.
Do you have any residential doors?
Yes, we do. We just got a full shipment of standard residential doors in.
Papa said we have a load.
Hadley, you can't say that.
Papa does.
Boy, am I in trouble now.
I'll take care of both of you later.
We know how hard residential doors are to find right now, so hurry while supplies last.
Way to change the subject, Dad. You're not off the hook yet.
Hey, announcer, help me out of this.
C&E Doors, Great Bend, and Hayes.
Big thanks to head coach Jason Duvall of Larned football joining us on today's program. Yeah, that was like I said, that's a program that's been a little rough the past couple of years, and obviously people around here are looking for that program to have success. Everybody around here, I feel like, wants other programs to have success. I mean, and especially, look, I will say as the host of this show, when teams are better, more people tune in and more people watch on YouTube, and people want to see teams have success. And so obviously we're rooting for these kids all the time, and it would be really nice to see Larned turn that program around. And I was telling Coach Duval as he was walking out, I played high school football in Georgia, and my senior year, the team I played on, we went 3-7. We did not have a good year. We did not make the playoffs. We played 10-game regular season in Georgia, and we won 3 games in 10 attempts. And we were not a program that had a lot of success. Had a late 2000s, had a pretty good team. Made the playoffs a couple of times in between 2008 and 2013, my freshman year. Never made the playoffs when I was in high school. But I graduate, I leave, and all of a sudden, the next year, Perry High School goes 6-4. They have a pretty good year, and then they win the region at 8-2, something like that. And then the year after that, they get the right group of guys in. They have just an outstanding wide receiver who wound up going to Virginia Tech. I think he's still at Virginia Tech. Had a tight end who's at Ole Miss now, or was at Ole Miss. His senior year just ended. A quarterback who wound up getting a preferred walk-on spot at Georgia. It just the right group of guys. Obviously, good players helped, but the right coach came in and started that turnaround, and success turns into success. You just got to find that first step along the road, and Coach Duval and I talked about it, and yeah, there's no easy one-size-fits-all formula to turning around a program that struggles. Every program has its own advantages, disadvantages, struggles, and areas of improvement, things like that. But it just takes the right guy. It takes the right guy getting in, and Larned feels like they've got the right guy in Jason Duval, and I'm certainly rooting for him. I'm rooting for that program, and it would be really cool to see Larned's football program kind of get up to speed, with the rest of the CKL, and that would be really cool to watch. Sports Day is brought to you in part by Kern Floor Service. Whether you need a new ceramic, porcelain, or natural stone floors, their knowledgeable and friendly flooring experts are here to help you find the perfect floor for your home decor and budget. Visit the Great Bend Showroom at 908 Coolidge to see, touch, and feel the latest styles. Also brought to you by Cody Crook of Red Cedar Land Company. Whether you're looking to sell your land or find the right property to buy, Cody takes pride in understanding your goals and making the process as smooth as possible. Call Cody at 620-617-7320 or visit redcedarland.com. All right, we are not going to take a break. I usually, after I read that, I say, all right, we got to take a break. No, we don't. We just came out of a break. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk to Michael Stedinger, head coach of Great Bend Baseball. Big matchup tonight versus the Hayes High Indians. Hayes is winless on the year, which just feels kind of like I don't know if red herring is the right word. You'll hear me in the interview. I struggle with trying to find the right words to say, too. But I feel like this is an interesting Hayes team. I don't ever trust that Hayes is going to be bad. So, and I tell you what, I don't think Michael Stedinger is taking this team lightly at all. I don't think any of the players are going to be. I think that this is going to be a very fun game. But Great Bend picked up their first wins of the year with a doubleheader sweep over Hutchinson on Friday. And so Coach Stet and I talk about that. We talk about the state of the team, all that fun stuff. That's right now. Here is Coach Michael Stedinger. Welcome back into Sports Tree, joined now by head coach Michael Stedinger of Great Bend High School Baseball. Coach, you're coming off a really solid performance last week, and first of all, congratulations on your first win as varsity head coach.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But honestly, I owe all that to the guys. They're the ones that did the work. So,
well, tell us about it. So you travel down to Hutchinson, and you have a doubleheader against a team that is just used to being really good. And so this Hutchinson team, you go in, and let's talk about game one real quickly. It doesn't get off to a great start, but your team battles. We talked about this last week against Garden City. You said that while you didn't win that game, proud of the fight that your guys showed. In this game, that fight comes back, and it leads to a win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, we didn't get off to the start we wanted. And they didn't throw the best pitcher in the world. He wasn't wowing us or anything like that. We were just having trouble squaring him up. Made a couple, let's say, defensive mishaps on a couple throws that were errant throws and gave them some unearned runs. But, the big thing that we had there, I had talked last week, I know, about wanting to get back and execute our game offensively and be able to play small ball and stuff like that. And really the reason that we were able to be in the situation that we were, especially late in the game, we had some guys execute some bunt offense, I should say, not bunt defense. But we kind of exploited Hutch's bunt defense a little bit. Obviously, we got a good enough pitching performance on the mound. Daxton started for us and did a good job. As we were able to tie the game up, then we brought Jackson Wandra in on the mound, and Jackson did a good job closing for us. We had a couple nail-biter plays, I guess, towards the end there. We had to make a couple coaching decisions. We ended up – the winning run was on second base with 2 outs, and so twice in that last inning there, or I should say in the bottom of the 7th, as we're trying to get it to extras, twice we had to walk guys intentionally so that we could load the bases up and have a force out at the plate. But, ultimately it was just the guys, they battled. They never gave up. We were never out of it. And then once we were able to get their starting pitcher out of the game, the next kid we were able to exploit offensively and really started to drive some balls in the gap.
So you're in the bottom of the 7th. The game is tied at 4, and you've got the winning run on second base. And Jackson Wandra's out. That's just to have the level of trust in a kid. You've got to put somebody out there, but as a coach, how do you decide who you want to go to in that moment out of the bullpen?
It's tough. You're always looking for matchups. We've got confidence in our entire pitching staff. And if we don't, obviously we're not able to run them out there. And even I'll back up before that. We had brought Jaden Prilling in before that. And again, it's a close game, and it's Jaden's first varsity experience on the mound. And Jaden did a great job keeping us in the game to get us to that point in the game. But, when we're looking at closing, we were already planning on starting Rafa Chavez game 2. So we really didn't want to use him in that situation. And Jackson's kind of the guy that we've looked at this year, probably going to end up being our closer. Not necessarily a guy that's going to give us 7 innings at a time on the mound, but he can come in for 2 or 3 at a time and really shut things down. And so that's what we were looking at. And, to complicate matters even more, we put Carter Dreiling behind the plate, his first time catching varsity. And we had a couple miscommunication, miscues between him and Jackson, but they got things worked out, and, we just let them do their thing then.
The thing about you talk about all these young guys getting their first experience, but then, we talk about some of the older guys. You started a guy who's been starting for forever in,
Daxton Minton?
Yes, good. How did I forget? Dax. Yeah, no, man. Daxton Minton's been doing this forever, but he's throwing to a guy who's making his first varsity start at catcher, and you start a junior who hasn't had a varsity start in game 2. There's a really nice mix of old guys and young guys on this team.
There is, and one thing that's been great throughout this year, it doesn't matter whether it's practice or games, our older guys, especially our seniors that have been there for a while. We were able to get Trent Kern back in the game on Friday. He missed Tuesday's game, but Trent and Cohen and Daxton, I would say they're the main 3 because there are seniors that have been there for a while. Those guys are taking these younger guys under their wing and teaching them, not just yelling at them, not getting on them every time they make a mistake. They are truly teaching them, and that's what's going to be a huge factor down the long haul for the season for us, is if they can continue to do that. Gosh, these guys, who better to learn from than those 3 guys who have a ton of varsity experience between all 3 of them.
Coaches like to talk about, as you get into the season, probably about the halfway point is when my coaches would start saying this, is your sophomores are now juniors, and your juniors are now seniors, and your seniors are essentially coaches on the field.
Right.
And it feels like you're hitting that point maybe a little early.
We are. Honestly, it started day 1. And we weren't able to have everybody there because we had basketball still playing and Trent gone for wrestling. But we had some of the older guys step up as much as they could. And then as soon as we got Daxton and Trenton back, things really took off. And I told them at the beginning of the season, this has to be their team. They're the ones that are in control of so many different things on the field. And, I just told them, you got to make sure you're doing everything in the right way. And so far they have done it great.
So you head into the 8th inning in game 1, and you're still tied at 4. And Coach, like you said, you were able to take advantage of some of their defensive weaknesses, and you finally get the starter out, and you get to see just a new arm, and you hang a 4 spot in the 8th inning, and that's just that the confidence from going from 4-4 to 8-4, knowing you've got 3 outs to get before you have to give up 4 runs. That's obviously it's not a great feeling to be in extras at any time. But the confidence going into that final frame.
For sure. It makes things a lot easier on everybody. The defense is able to relax. We're able to tell guys that we're going to trade outs for runs and stuff. And again, just to back up a little bit, I just really want to say they did a great job, our whole team. I think we laid down 9 bunts in the doubleheader.
Wow.
And they were not able to stop it. And so we were able to keep putting pressure on them. I mean, Jaden Prilling, I think, laid down 3 sacrifice bunts, and they were great every time. We get guys on every time. So, them buying into the way that we want to play and all of that stuff helped us to get there. And then once we get the 4-run lead, pretty confident with Jackson on the mound that we're not giving up 4 runs in that last inning.
It is interesting that, you think of this Great Bend team over the past couple of years. I think of big guys. Yeah, I think of Ian Premer. I think of Owen Kaiser. I think of, obviously, Trent Kern. And Kern is the only one who's still on this team right now. Right. And now it kind of feels like the center of your team is kind of small ball. And, even your seniors, again, we go back to Daxton Minton. He's a little less than 6 foot and probably about 180. He's not crushing the ball every time, but it is bunts. It's being aggressive on the base paths. It's kind of a new identity for Great Bend baseball.
It is for sure. And I think, if you're going to be a good high school coach, one thing you've got to do going into it is you've got to know what is the strength of your team. Mm-hmm. Are you a team that's going to go up there and hit 25 home runs a year and, smash a bunch of doubles in the gap? Or are you guys going to have to be station to station and bunt? And right now, with us being as young as we are, and we've got so many freshmen that they haven't grown into their, as I'll call it, man body yet. They're getting there. They're still developing. They're still growing. So for right now, we've got to be able to play that small ball game. But, looking down the road, as those guys grow and develop, if we can get the small ball game established now, and they do develop into those bigger guys, with a lot more power, how much more potent are we as a well-rounded offense rather than we're just waiting on the long ball all the time?
I think that is such a mark of being a high school coach, and it's why I like coaches that do move on to the next level. I think it's an advantage for them is in, college level, pro level, you get to choose who your players are. High school, you have to take what comes to you, and because of that, you have to make adjustments year to year and go, okay, this is what my personnel is. This is what we can do. And you obviously want to establish some kind of rhythm. You want to, identity is the big keyword there. Mm-hmm. But you also have to go into a season knowing, okay, this year's team is different from last year's team. In what way is it different, and how can we kind of improve or change, adapt? Adaptability, I think, is such an important trait in a high school coach.
For sure. I think it is. And like you said, no 2 teams are going to be exactly the same. Every once in a while, you're blessed with a team, and I think we're going to probably end up being that way in the next couple of years. You're blessed with a team where you've had those guys for 3, sometimes 4 years as starters, and so you don't have to adapt as much through that time. But, Coach Biggs out at Barton, he and I graduated together and are still good friends, and I talked to him even. He's able to recruit guys that play the style of ball that he wants to play. But even throughout a season, you've got to be able to adapt that style at times because maybe somebody is they've got a bunch of pop, but they're struggling at the plate. So what do you got to do when you're struggling at the plate? Well, maybe we need to lay down a bunt and play small ball or play station to station. And, so I think it's at every level. A good coach is always going to be adaptable and take into account what's happening with their guys at that time.
So let's go up to game 2 now. This one, it kind of feels like the momentum from that 8th inning just carried over for the rest of the series. Talk about it. 9-1, I believe, was the final?
Yeah, and, it did carry over. We finally got some things going offensively that we've been struggling with. And I wouldn't say that, even after 3 games, we're still not exactly where we want to be offensively. But they threw their number 1 at us in game 2, Juju Lyons. And he's a kid that's got some pretty good stuff. I believe he's going to Hutch to pitch next year, if I was told right. So mid-80s guy with a good breaking ball. And I'll be honest with you, we went out there from the first inning and we just put at-bats together against him. We were able to drive some balls in the gap on him, and then we didn't stop with the small ball game in game 2. Anytime we got a chance to bunt, we were laying down a bunt on them. And if my records are right, I believe we executed 9 out of 11 bunt situations in the doubleheader. So you got to be pretty happy with that as a coach.
That is such a skill that it feels like has gone to the wayside in modern baseball. And you and I talked about pitchers that throw strikes last week, guys who can lay down bunts. And I feel like bunting has fallen out of favor. But 9 out of 11, that's a super impressive number for any team, much less a group of high school guys.
Yeah, it is for sure. And, one of the expectations that we have, every guy in our order is expected to be able to bunt. It doesn't matter whether you're hitting 3-hole or whether you're hitting 9-hole. And I'll use Cale Kern, for instance. Cale was struggling a little bit at the plate and a couple at bats. He comes up, it's a bunt situation, and Cale executes a bunt perfectly. He's the last person that anybody's expecting to go up there and lay down a bunt. Everybody's waiting on Cale to hit the ball off the wall. And he executes it perfectly. And that goes back to also our guys have bought in at practice to the fact that we need to have that identity. And it would be easy for a guy like him in practice to say, I don't really care about bunts. I don't have to work on it. But he's chosen to buy in and be a team player, and put the team in front of himself. And that's why we're as successful Friday night as we were.
And so now you renew a rivalry. This game is always big. Whatever the sport, wherever it's being played, whatever time of year, Great Bend and Hays is always a big deal. So tell me about what you see from Hays. And let's start with that. Before you give me the scouting report, how excited are you to just coach in a rivalry like this?
Oh, for sure. You got to love it. I mean, it's something that I got to play in as a player and have coached in the last 15 years. And it doesn't matter who's good, who's not, who's loaded with seniors, who's not, or what the rankings are. It's just always a fun, hard-nosed game. So you got to love those.
So let's talk now about Hays. I know they're winless on the season, but that feels kind of kind of the opposite of a paper tiger, whatever that would be. It feels like this is I don't trust that Hays is ever bad at anything. And so tell me about Hays and what you see from them.
I can guarantee you, knowing Dusty Dreher, I've known him for a long time, their head coach. No matter what team he has, he's going to have those boys prepared to play. Mm-hmm. And they are very similar to us in the fact that they lost a ton of talent in their senior class last year. So I know they're going to have a pretty good kid on the mound who I expect to see today, Brett Rhodes. We've faced him quite a few times in JV. He's a quality pitcher. I think he's done the majority of their pitching so far this year. And from what I can tell, they're going to be young also. It looks like they, just looking at some of their stats, they've been struggling a little bit offensively. And they look like they're going to be like us where they want to get out and run and probably play some small ball. And, of course, today we're going to have a north wind blowing straight in at about 24 mile an hour. So everybody's going to have to execute the small ball game. But, like I say, knowing Dusty, as long as I've known him, he'll have those boys ready to play.
You talk about the wind blowing in and things like that. This is I couldn't get over when I first moved here. And I came at the very end of baseball season last year. And I couldn't get over just how big a baseball field that is for a high school team. It's 400 to dead center. There are Major League Baseball fields that are 400 to dead center, maybe 405. Like the biggest fields in the world are 415. And like this is a massive high school baseball field.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Even when we used to play at Vets, it was another field that, we have always had a large field here in Great Bend and tons of space for our outfielders to cover out there, which, if you know what you're doing, it can be an advantage for you. If you got a team that can drive the ball in the gap and they can really run, now you're turning doubles into triples and stuff like that. But it's crucial on a field like that the outfielders have to take good routes to balls and they can't get burned or else guys are going to be circling the bases.
Great Bend and Hays tonight at the sports complex. Coach, what time is first pitch?
First pitch for JV, it's a single tonight, so JV will start at 4 o'clock, and then varsity should be sometime right around 6:30.
All right, awesome. Coach, good luck. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
That's head coach Michael Stedinger of Great Bend Baseball joining us here on Sports Day.
Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
The Eagle Media Spring Online Auction, presented by Stone Sand Company and by Stone Waste Management, returns. Receive amazing discounts on products and services from local businesses. Online bidding begins Wednesday, April 15th at 8 a.m. and ends Thursday, April 16th at noon. Register now at GreatBendPost.com. Then listen live during the on-air showcase, Wednesday, April 15th from 9 until 3 on 100.7 Eagle Country and 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM.
Hey Cougar fans, this is Brant Daughtry, voice of the Barton Cougars. Cheering from the stands is great, but you can give our athletes a true competitive advantage by joining the Cougar Booster Club. Boosters provide the best equipment and facility upgrades, helping Barton athletes succeed at the regional and national level. Whether you're a business or an individual, your support matters. Call 620-792-9377 and become a Cougar Booster today. Go Cougars!
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Cini Doors, this is Cindy.
Do you have any residential doors?
Yes, we do. We just got a full shipment of standard residential doors in.
Papa said we have a load.
Hadley, you can't say that.
Papa does.
Boy, am I in trouble now.
I'll take care of both of you later.
We know how hard residential doors are to find right now, so hurry while supplies last.
Way to change the subject, Dad. You're not off the hook yet.
Hey, announcer, help me out of this.
C&E Doors, Great Bend, and Hayes.
Parents, if your student is planning for college this fall, Barton Community College enrollment days make the process simple. In one visit, your student can meet with advisors, choose classes, explore financial aid, and get everything set for the semester ahead. Barton's team is here to guide them every step of the way. Sign up for a Barton enrollment day and get started today. Go to enroll.bartonccc.edu.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local equity bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Get active with Rec Sports. Youth and adult baseball and softball leagues are now forming. Don't miss out on the summer baseball and softball leagues for all ages and abilities. Sign up today. Online registration is available at greatbendrec.com. Deadline April 12th.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the Rec.
Welcome back. Final segment of Sports Day. If you're ever hosting a sports talk show, which if you're listening to this, I don't know, don't try to become my competition. I like this. I like the community that we have here. I kind of want to hold on to what I have. But if you ever do decide to host a sports talk show, and you start moving commercials around to fit around interviews and breaks and everything, don't forget your last break, because then you have to merge your last break with your second to last break, and it gives you like a 6-minute commercial break. And that's no fun for anybody to sit through. So I apologize for that. Try to keep those commercials around 3.5 minutes at the most, because I do move them around. Anyway, apologize for the long commercial break is what I'm getting at. Sports Day is brought to you in part by Equity Bank. There when you need them. Bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. Also, by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange signs south of 10th and Harrison. Also, in part by the Great Bend Rec, providing quality leisure, cultural, sports, fitness, and educational programs to improve the quality of the community and the individual lives of their community members. And lastly, by Freedom Claims Management. Let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management, Inc. customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's needs. Big thanks to the guests on today's show, Jason Duval of Larned Football and Michael Stedinger of Great Bend Baseball. If you're a Great Bend baseball fan, if you're just a baseball fan who lives in Great Bend, really big-time matchup tonight. Early season rivalry matchup between Great Bend and Hayes. Panthers come in at 2-1. They lost their opener at Garden City. They won the doubleheader with Hutchinson. And now they look to continue on the winning track against the Hayes High Indians, who come in without a win so far this year. Of course, still very early, way too early to call any kind of order in the WAC to this point, but especially too early to take a team with 0 wins lightly. And I certainly got the feeling that Michael Stedinger and his team are not going to be doing that. But this does mean that we are opening up for the first time this year our coverage of Great Bend High School baseball over on B104.3 The Point. Mike Hesher will have the call of that contest between Great Bend and Hayes tonight, starting about 15 minutes before first pitch. So 6 o'clock, 6:15, something like that. He plans on going on the air, and should be a really, really fun game. I'll certainly be tuning in, and should be a whole lot of fun between Great Bend and Hayes. Tomorrow's show, we will talk to Brent Biggs of Barton Community College baseball. About called him Barton High School. That's not right. Barton Community College baseball will be on the show. And after that, Tim Boxberger of Hoisington High School softball will make his appearance on his first appearance of the year on the show here. And certainly looking forward to talking to those guys and seeing what that is. I believe Coach Boxberger is going to bring in a couple of players as well. So certainly look forward to that. If you're in the Hoisington area and you love that softball program, I believe that program is 4-0 so far on the year. Had a really good showing against Ellenwood late last week. And it's interesting because Mike Hesher is now the PA guy PA man is what I tried to say the first time. PA guy for Hoisington. I believe their baseball team is who he does. But when he's not calling Great Bend High School baseball, you can go hear his voice over with Hoisington baseball over the PA. You don't even have to be listening to the radio. You can just go to the games. You'll hear Hesh. And he filled in on yesterday's program. Landon Winkler was out. Landon is back today. He's running the video feed and the cameras today. Big thanks to him. And Hesh stepped in yesterday, and we wound up turning on Hesh's microphone, and he joined Garrett and myself in Water Cooler Monday and had a fun discussion about Royals and Braves and Mets, since we're all fans of different major league teams in the studio yesterday. Yeah, just looking at what the Royals have done so far this year, I think that the lineup, still some holes there. I think the pitching staff has a chance to be very, very good. I think that this Royals staff is going to be pretty special, and obviously that's the hope for the Royals, for J.J. Piccolo, for Matt Cotrero, because it's been a couple of disappointing seasons in a row. I think if you're the Royals, you at least want to make it to the divisional round this year. I feel like that's a reasonable expectation for them. Now, are they going to win the Central? Let me just look up the standings real quick, and we'll end the show talking about the AL Central. And yeah, the Guardians are 3-2, Tigers 2-2, Royals 2-2. The White Sox and Twins are both 1-3. The Twins haven't been good since, in a couple of years now. They've been lacking wins. The White Sox are the White Sox. They're probably going to lose 100 games again. So you're down to the Royals, the Tigers, and the Guardians. And while I think the Guardians and the Tigers are both very good, I do think that the Royals stack up well. I don't feel like either of those teams blows me away. The Tigers, obviously, Tarek Skubal, they're going to have a chance to win every time he's on the mound, so that goes a long way. But I don't know. I think the Guardians are probably the most complete team, but I think the Royals are right there. This should be a very fun AL Central race. I don't know who comes out on top of it, but it's something that we'll be keeping track of up until summer break for Sports Day. And then, obviously, just in my own time, I'll be watching what the Royals do. So, really fun show today. Thanks to Jason Duvall. Thanks to Michael Stettinger. Both guys going to be new head coaches. Stettinger is currently coaching, and Coach Duvall going to be the new head coach over at Larned in the football team. And so, big thanks to both of those guys for coming on today's show. Big thanks to Landon Winkler for running the video feed and the cameras. Big thanks to you for watching and listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll do it all again tomorrow, same time, same place. It'll be a Wednesday episode of Sports Day that's coming your way tomorrow at 12:30 right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.